Captain Daeho Kim looked at his coffee cup and frowned. The brown liquid inside was cold again. He had heated it 3 times already this morning, but every time someone called him to fix something, and every time he forgot about the coffee. "Captain, the cargo bay door is stuck again," Boram Lee called from the engine room. Her voice came through the ship's speakers with a tired sound. Boram was the best engineer Daeho had ever worked with, but even she got frustrated with their old ship. The Morning Calm was not the newest ship in space. It was not the fastest ship either, but it was their ship and it got the job done. Most days anyway. Today was Tuesday, and Tuesday always brought problems. Daeho put his cold coffee down and walked to the cargo bay. The metal door was halfway open and making a grinding noise. Boram stood next to it with a wrench in her hand and oil on her face. "Same problem as last week?" Daeho asked. "Same problem as last week," Boram said. "The motor is old. I can fix it, but we need new parts soon." "Add it to the list," Daeho said. The list of things they needed was getting longer every day. New parts cost money, and money was always tight for small cargo ships like theirs. Taemin Park came walking down the hallway. He was young and always had too much energy in the morning. "Captain, I got our course set for the Kepler system. Should take us about 6 hours to get there." "Good," Daeho said. "What's the weather looking like?" "All clear. No storms, no solar flares, just empty space and boring flying." Taemin smiled. He liked boring flying. Exciting flying usually meant something was wrong. So Young Choi's voice came over the speakers from the communication room. "Captain, I'm getting the morning reports from Earth. Want me to read them?" "Sure," Daeho said. He started walking back to his coffee. "Let's see," So Young said. "Grain prices are up. The football team from Seoul won their game. Oh, and there's some pirate activity near Kepler 442. Nothing major, just the usual stuff." "Pirates." Daeho sighed. There were always pirates somewhere. Space was big, and the police could not watch every corner of it. Most pirates were just desperate people trying to make money the wrong way. They usually ran away if someone bigger showed up. "Any ships asking for help?" Daeho asked. "Not yet," So Young said. "But the day is young." Daeho finally made it back to his coffee. It was still cold. He heated it up again and sat down at his desk. The desk was covered with papers about their cargo, fuel costs, and repair bills. Being a ship captain was mostly paperwork, not adventure. The Morning Calm carried basic supplies to the outer colonies: food, medicine, tools, clothes, things people needed to live. It was not exciting work, but it was important work. The colonies depended on ships like theirs. Far away from Daeho's ship in a big space station, other people were starting their Tuesday morning too. But their morning was very different. Ambassador Hyejin Yoon sat in a meeting room with aliens from all over the galaxy. The aliens were tall, short, blue, green, and some colors that humans did not have names for. They were the Galactic Council, and they made decisions about trade, peace, and rules for space travel. Hyejin was the only human in the room. Earth had joined the Galactic Council 5 years ago, but most aliens still did not know much about humans. They thought humans were okay at fixing things and moving cargo, but not very important. "The morning reports, please," said Counselor Veltar. He was from the Zenthari Empire and had blue skin and 4 arms. He always spoke like everything was very serious. A small robot rolled into the room with a stack of papers. The papers had information about what was happening in different parts of the galaxy. Most of it was boring stuff like trade numbers and weather reports. "Pirates attacked a merchant ship near the Vega system," the robot said in its flat voice. "Local security handled it. 3 ships reported engine problems. All fixed. Normal space traffic in all sectors." "What about the humans?" asked Counselor Veltar. "What are they doing today?" Hyejin wondered why he always asked about humans like they were going to do something strange. "They're working," she said. "Same as always. Moving cargo, fixing things, helping people." "Boring," said another alien. This one looked like a giant cat with purple fur. "Humans are so predictable." "Work, work, work." No excitement. Hyejin did not argue. It was true that humans were not the most exciting species in the galaxy. They did not have amazing technology like some aliens. They were not great warriors like others. They just did their jobs and tried to help each other. The meeting continued with more reports about trade and politics. Hyejin listened but did not say much. Most of the time, the other aliens made decisions and told her about them later. Back on the Morning Calm, Daeho was finally drinking his hot coffee when the communication system made a beeping sound. So Young's voice came over the speakers again, but this time she sounded more alert. Captain, I'm getting a distress signal from Colony Kepler 442b. Sounds like they have a problem. Daeho put down his coffee cup. Distress signals were serious business. What kind of problem? Pirates, sir. They're asking for help. Says the pirates have hostages and want money. Daeho walked to the communication room. So Young was sitting at her desk with headphones on, listening carefully to the radio signals from space. How many pirates? Daeho asked. The colony says about 30 pirates and 3 ships. The local defense force only has 3 guards and 1 old police ship. 30 pirates against 3 guards. That was not good odds. The colonies in the outer systems did not have big police forces. They depended on help from passing ships when trouble came. Are there any military ships in the area? Daeho asked. So Young checked her computer. Negative, sir. The nearest military base is 2 days away. What about other merchant ships? Let me check. So Young typed on her keyboard. I see 3 other ships in the area. The Seoul Express, the Busan Heavy, and the Jeju Paradise. Daeho knew those ships. Ji Woo-nam ran the Seoul Express. She was tough and smart. Kyung-soo Han had the Busan Heavy. It was a mining ship with big equipment. Byun Bisong commanded the Jeju Paradise, a passenger ship that took tourists to see the pretty planets. Get me on the radio with all of them, Daeho said. Yes, sir. A few minutes later, Daeho was talking to the other 3 captains. Their faces appeared on the communication screen. They all looked tired. It was Tuesday morning for them too. So, pirates again, said Ji-woo. Her hair was messy and she was drinking coffee from a mug that said best captain ever on it. Same old story, said Kyung-soo. Behind him, Daeho could see the big machinery of the mining ship. Desperate people making bad choices. My passengers are not going to like this, said Yunbi. We're supposed to be at the Pretty Nebula by lunchtime. We can't just leave those people, Daeho said. They need help. Of course we're going to help, Ji-woo said. I was just complaining. It's Tuesday morning. I'm allowed to complain on Tuesday morning. What do we know about these pirates? Kyung-soo asked. Daeho looked at So Young. She read from her computer screen. 3 ships, about 30 people. They're asking for money and supplies. They say they'll hurt the hostages if they don't get what they want. Typical, Yunbi said. They probably don't really want to hurt anyone. They just want food and fuel. Still dangerous, though, Ji-woo said. Scared people with guns do stupid things. So what's the plan? Kyung-soo asked. Daeho thought for a moment. This was not the first time they had dealt with pirates. It probably would not be the last. Space was big and dangerous, and sometimes people had to help each other. Let's meet up and figure something out, Daeho said. We have about 4 hours before we reach the colony. That should be enough time to make a plan. Sounds good, the other captain said. Far away on the Galactic Council space station, the monitoring computers were picking up the radio signals between the human ships. The computers did not understand what the humans were saying, but they could see that 4 human ships were changing course and moving toward the same place. A young alien officer saw the computer readings and called his supervisor. Sir, we have unusual human activity in the Kepler system. The supervisor looked at the screen. 4 ships moving in formation. That's interesting. Humans usually work alone. Should we report this to the council? Yes, mark it as a minor event for now. Probably just a cargo delivery or something. But the computer systems kept watching, and as the human ships got closer to each other, the readings got more interesting. Ambassador Hae-jin was still in her meeting when a small robot rolled up to her with a message. She read it quickly and felt confused. Something wrong? Asked Counselor Veltar. I'm getting reports about human ships in the Kepler system. 4 ships moving together, but I don't have any information about a human fleet operation. Fleet operation? Veltar's 4 eyes got wider. Humans have fleets? Well, no, not really. We have cargo ships and passenger ships and mining ships, but not military fleets. Then why are 4 ships moving in formation? Hee-jin did not know. She tried to contact Earth's military command, but they did not know anything either. She tried to contact the ships directly, but they were too far away for good communication. I'm sure it's nothing important, she said. Humans help each other. Maybe someone needs assistance. But Counselor Veltar was looking at the computer screen with all 4 arms crossed. We should watch this carefully. Humans are full of surprises. The 4 human ships met in empty space halfway to the colony. Daeho looked out his window and saw the other ships floating near his. The Seoul Express was long and thin, built for speed. The Busan Heavy was big and blocky, with huge mining equipment on the outside. The Jeju Paradise was white and shiny, with big windows for tourists to look at space. Okay, everyone, let's talk about this problem, Daeho said into his radio. The other captains appeared on his communication screen again. This time they all had notebooks and were ready to work. What do we know about the colony? Jiwoo asked. So Young read from her computer. Colony Kepler 442b, about 200 people. They grow food and mine minerals. Small place, very quiet normally. And the pirates? Kyungsoo asked. 3 ships. The colonists say they're old cargo ships with weapons attached. Nothing fancy, just basic guns and missile launchers. How many hostages? Hyunbi wanted to know. 20 people. The pirates took them from the main settlement. They're keeping them on their biggest ship. Daeho looked at his notebook. He had drawn a simple map of the area around the colony. The pirates are staying close to the colony. They want to be able to threaten the people on the ground if anyone tries to rescue the hostages. Smart, Jiwoo said, but also predictable. Pirates always do the same things. What weapons do we have? Kyungsoo asked. I mean, we're cargo ships. We don't exactly have laser cannons, Boram spoke up from her engineering station. We have some mining explosives in Cargo Bay 3. They're meant for the colony, but we could use them. I have mining charges too, Kyungsoo said. Lots of them. And the big digging equipment. My ship has emergency flares and emergency foam, Yunbi said. And the entertainment system can make pretty good holograms. Holograms? Daeho asked. For the tourists. We make fake space battles and pretty light shows. The projectors are actually quite powerful. Jiwoo smiled. I have a cargo hold full of industrial glue. It was supposed to go to a construction site, but maybe we can find another use for it. Glue? Taemin asked. Industrial strength. The kind they use to hold space stations together. Gets on your ship, you're not going anywhere for a while. Daeho started to see a plan forming. It was not a fancy plan. It was not even a good plan by military standards. But it might work. Okay, here's what I'm thinking, he said. We can't fight them ship to ship. But we don't need to. We just need to stop them and rescue the hostages. I'm listening, Jiwoo said. Kyungsoo, your mining ship is the biggest and strongest. Can you get close to their main ship without them thinking you're a threat? Maybe. Mining ships go everywhere. They might think I'm just passing by until I'm right on top of them. Good. Yunbi, can your holograms make it look like there are more ships coming? Easy. I can make it look like a whole fleet is arriving. The tourists love the big space battle shows. Perfect. Jiwoo, how fast can the Seoul Express move? Faster than anything those pirates have. I can be on them before they know what's happening. Daeho looked at his rough plan. Boram, how hard would it be to rig some mining charges to explode when we want them to? Not hard at all, Captain. I can set timers or remote detonators. Whatever you need, all right. Here's the plan. Hyunbi starts the hologram show to make the pirates think a big fleet is coming. While they're distracted, Kyungsoo moves in close with the mining equipment. Jiwoo comes in fast with the industrial glue to stop their engines. And we use the explosives to make a lot of noise and confusion. What about the hostages? Hyunbi asked. That's the tricky part. We need to get them off that ship before we do anything too dramatic. So Young raised her hand. Captain, I might be able to help with that. I've been listening to their radio signals. Their communication system is pretty basic. I think I can hack into it. You can do that? I did it last month when we had trouble with those customs officers who wanted to search our cargo. Remember? Daeho remembered. So Young had somehow confused the customs computer system so badly that the officers had given up and let them go. What would you need? He asked. Just some time and my toolkit. If I can get into their system, I can maybe cause some confusion. Turn off lights, open doors, that sort of thing. That could work, Jiwoo said. If they're running around trying to fix their ship, they won't be watching the hostages as carefully. Sounds like we have a plan, Kyungsoo said. Not a great plan, but a plan. When do we do this? Yunbi asked. Daeho checked the time. We'll be at the colony in 2 hours. That gives us time to get ready, and for So Young to work on their communication system. All right, everyone, let's get to work, Jiwoo said. And remember, we're not trying to be heroes here. We just want to get those people safe and go home. Agreed, the other captain said. The 4 ships started moving toward the colony. To anyone watching, they just looked like merchant ships going about their normal business. But someone was watching. On the Galactic Council space station, the monitoring computers were getting very excited. The 4 human ships were now moving in perfect formation toward the same destination. Their energy readings were increasing, and they were sending lots of radio signals back and forth. The young alien officer who had first noticed the human ships was now staring at his screen with his mouth open. "Sir, you need to see this." His supervisor came over and looked at the readings. "By the stars of Xanthar, look at this coordination. Look at these energy signatures. Should we alert the council?" "Yes, immediately. This is not normal human behavior." A few minutes later, Ambassador He-Jin was pulled out of her boring meeting and brought to the monitoring room. The alien technicians were all talking at once and pointing at screens full of numbers and charts. "Ambassador, please explain what your people are doing," said Counselor Veltar. His blue skin was darker than usual, which meant he was worried or angry. He-Jin looked at the screens. She saw the 4 ships moving toward Kepler 442b. She saw the energy readings and radio signals, but she did not understand why the aliens were so excited. "It looks like 4 cargo ships going to make deliveries," she said. "Cargo ships do not move in perfect military formation," Veltar said. "Military formation? They're just traveling together for safety. Ships do that all the time. And these energy readings? These look like weapons charging." He-Jin looked at the energy readings more carefully. They were higher than normal, but not by much. Maybe they're running their engines harder to get there faster, or warming up their equipment. "Ambassador, with respect, we have been watching ships for centuries. This is not normal merchant behavior. These readings suggest your people are preparing for combat." He-Jin felt confused and worried. Earth did not have any military operations planned in the Kepler system. She was sure of that. So what were these ships doing? "Maybe they're responding to an emergency," she said. "Humans help each other when there's trouble. What kind of emergency would require 4 ships in this level of coordination? I don't know, but I'm sure there's a simple explanation." Counselor Veltar did not look convinced. "We will continue to monitor the situation. If this is some kind of human military operation, the council needs to know about it." "It's not a military operation," He-Jin said. "Humans don't have military operations like that." But even as she said it, she wondered if she was wrong. The readings on the screen did look unusual, and 4 ships working together was not common for human merchants. Back in space, the 4 human ships were getting close to the colony. Daeho could see the pirate ships on his scanner. 3 old cargo ships, just like So Young had said. They were staying close to the colony, using the people on the ground as protection. "Everyone ready?" he asked over the radio. "Ready?" came the replies from the other ships. "So Young, how's the hacking going?" "I'm in their communication system, Captain. It's actually pretty easy. They don't have much security. I can turn things on and off, change their radio channels, even play music if you want. Save the music for later. Unbi, start the light show." "Starting now, Captain." Suddenly, the space around the colony lit up with holographic ships. Dozens of them, all different sizes and types. To anyone looking from the pirate ships, it would look like a huge fleet had just arrived. Daeho's radio crackled with the voices of the pirates. "Where did all these ships come from? This is impossible. We need to get out of here." "Now, Kyung-soo," Daeho said. The big mining ship started moving toward the pirates. Its huge digging arms were extended, making it look like a giant metal monster. "Jiwoo, your turn." The Fast Soul Express shot forward like an arrow. In seconds, it was next to one of the pirate ships, spraying industrial glue all over its engines. "So Young, give them some technical difficulties." "Yes, sir." On the pirate ships, lights started turning on and off. Doors opened and closed by themselves. The radio played 3 different stations at once. "Boram, light the fireworks." The mining charges exploded in bright flashes around the pirate ships. They were not meant to damage anything, just to make noise and light and confusion. It worked perfectly. On the Galactic Council monitoring station, the alien technicians watched in amazement as the human battle unfolded. The energy readings were off the charts. The tactical coordination was flawless. The use of multiple weapon systems was unlike anything they had ever seen. "Incredible," whispered Counselor Veltar. Or, "Look at this strategy: holographic deception, chemical weapons, cyber warfare, and explosive. The pirates were having a very bad day." Captain Sung-Ho Bae was the leader of the 3 pirate ships, and he had never seen anything like this before. One minute he was sitting in his chair drinking cheap coffee and planning how to spend the ransom money. The next minute his ship was surrounded by what looked like 100 enemy vessels. His engines were covered in some kind of sticky goo, his lights were flashing on and off like a disco, and explosions were going off all around him. "What's happening?" He yelled at his crew. "I don't know," shouted his engineer. "The computer says we have 100 enemy ships, but the scanner only shows 4. The engines won't start," called another pirate. "There's something all over them. And I can't control the lights," said a third. "They keep turning on and off by themselves." On the morning calm, Daeho watched the confusion through his ship's cameras. The pirates were running around their ship like ants whose hill had been kicked. It was almost funny. "So Young, can you open the door where they're keeping the hostages?" he asked. "Let me try," So Young said. Her fingers danced across her keyboard. "Got it. The door to their cargo bay just opened. Perfect. Yunbi, can you make some of your fake ships look like they're landing on the colony?" "Easy," Yunbi replied. On the screens of the pirate ships, it now looked like dozens of rescue ships were landing near the colony to help the people there. Kyung-soo, time to be scary. The big mining ship Busan Heavy moved closer to the main pirate ship. Kyung-soo extended all of his digging arms and mining equipment. To the pirates, it looked like a giant mechanical monster reaching out to grab them. Kyung-soo spoke into his radio with a deep, serious voice. "Pirate vessel, you are surrounded. Release your hostages immediately." But the pirates could not hear him clearly because So Young was making their radio play music at the same time. "What did he say?" Captain Sung Ho asked his communication officer. "I think he said something about hostages, but there's this song playing at the same time. It's very confusing." Meanwhile, on the colony below, the 20 hostages were looking around in confusion. The cargo bay door had suddenly opened by itself and they could hear their guards running around and shouting about lights and explosions. "What's going on?" asked one hostage. "I think someone is trying to rescue us," said another. "Should we run?" "Where?" "We're on a spaceship." One of the hostages, a woman named Min Jung who worked as a teacher on the colony, looked out the cargo bay door. She could see other pirate ships covered in some kind of foam or glue. She could see explosions of light and color, and she could see what looked like the biggest, scariest mining ship she had ever seen reaching out with metal arms toward their ship. "I think," she said slowly, "someone is fighting the pirates." "Who would do that?" asked another hostage. "Maybe the military?" "The military is too far away. Must be someone else," Min Jung thought about it. The colony sent out a distress signal that morning. Maybe some of the merchant ships had heard it and decided to help. "I think," she said, "some very brave people are trying to save us." On the Seoul Express, Captain Ji-woo was having fun. She had always been good at flying, and today she got to show off. Her ship was fast and small, and she was using it to zip around the pirate ships like an annoying fly. Every time she got close to a pirate ship, she sprayed more industrial glue on it. The glue was designed to hold pieces of space stations together, so it was very, very sticky. Once it got on something, it did not come off easily. "How much glue do we have left?" she asked her crew. "About half the cargo hold." "Captain?" "Good. I want to make sure these pirates are really stuck." The second pirate ship was trying to move away from the battle, but its engines were completely covered in glue. The more the engine tried to work, the more the glue heated up and got stickier. "We can't move," the pirate captain radioed to Captain Sung Ho. "Our engines are covered in some kind of chemical weapon." "Chemical weapon?" Sung Ho looked out his window at the white, foamy stuff covering his engines. It looked like soap suds, but apparently it was some kind of military weapon. On the Galactic Council monitoring station, the alien technicians were frantically taking notes. "Fascinating," said Counselor Veltar. "The humans are using some kind of immobilizing chemical compound. Very effective." "And look at this coordination," said another alien officer. "The small, fast ship applies the chemical weapon while the large ship provides intimidation, and the holographic deception continues to confuse the enemy. The cyber warfare is ongoing as well," added a third alien. "They have complete control of the enemy ship's systems." Ambassador Hyejin watched the screens and tried to understand what she was seeing. It did look like a very sophisticated military operation, but she knew the captains of those ships. Daeho Kim was a quiet man who liked to read books in his spare time. Jiwoo Nam was always complaining about the price of fuel. These were not military masterminds. "I still think this is just merchant ships helping each other," she said. "Ambassador," said Counselor Veltar, "merchant ships do not carry holographic warfare systems and chemical immobilization weapons. They're not weapons. The holograms are for tourist entertainment. And the glue is for construction. Yet they are being deployed with perfect tactical precision. Hee-jin had to admit that it did look very organized. But she knew humans. When there was a problem, they fixed it. When someone needed help, they helped. They did not sit around making complicated plans. They just did whatever worked. Back in space, the battle was almost over. 2 of the pirate ships could not move because of the glue. The 3rd pirate ship was trying to escape, but Kyung-soo's mining ship was in the way, and its captain was too scared to try to fly around those giant mechanical arms. "So Young," said Dae-ho, "can you turn on their communication system properly? I want to talk to them." "Got it, Captain." Dae-ho picked up his radio microphone. He thought for a moment about what to say. He was not good at making speeches, and he was definitely not good at being threatening. He was just a cargo ship captain who wanted to get those people safe and go home. "Pirate ships," he said. "This is Captain Kim of the merchant vessel Morning Calm. You are surrounded and your ships are disabled. Release your hostages and we can all go home peacefully." There was silence on the radio for a moment. Then Captain Sung-ho's voice came through, sounding tired and confused. "Merchant vessel? You're not military?" "No, we're cargo haulers. We heard the colony's distress call and came to help." 4 cargo ships did all this? Dae-ho looked around at the holographic fleet, the glue-covered pirate ships and the flashing lights. "Well, yes, we had some supplies that turned out to be useful." Another long silence. Then Sung-ho spoke again. "We surrender. We're opening the cargo bay doors now. The hostages can leave." On the main pirate ship, Captain Sung-ho told his crew to put down their weapons. He was tired of being a pirate anyway. It was not as exciting as the movies made it look. Mostly it was a lot of sitting around in space, being bored and scared. The hostages walked out of the cargo bay and onto the docking platform where a rescue ship from the colony was waiting. Min-jung, the teacher, looked up at the cargo ships floating around them. "Thank you," she called out, even though she knew they probably could not hear her. But they could hear her. So-young had patched the colony's communication system into their radio. "You're welcome," came Dae-ho's voice. "Sorry it took so long. We had to improvise a bit." "You saved our lives," Min-jung said. "We just helped out neighbors," Dae-ho replied. "That's what people do." On the Galactic Council station, the alien officers watched as the battle ended. The human ships had achieved complete victory in less than 2 hours. 0 casualties on the human side. All hostages rescued safely. All enemy ships captured or disabled. "Remarkable," whispered Counselor Veltar. "I have never seen such efficient tactical execution. The speed, the coordination, the use of improvised weapons," said another officer. "This will be studied in military academies for centuries. We need to update our assessment of human military capabilities immediately," said a third. Ambassador Hee-jin listened to all this and felt more confused than ever. She picked up her communication device and tried to call Earth's military headquarters. "This is Ambassador Yoon," she said when someone answered. "I need to speak to someone about human military operations in the Kepler system." "Military operations?" came the reply. "We don't have any military operations in the Kepler system." "Why, are you sure?" 4 ships, perfect coordination, advanced tactics?" "Ambassador, I'm looking at our records right now. We have no military ships in that sector at all. Are you feeling all right?" Hee-jin looked at the screens showing the 4 cargo ships. Dae-ho's Morning Calm looked like any other old cargo hauler. Jiwoo's Seoul Express was obviously built for speed, not fighting. Kyung-soo's mining ship was just a working vessel with mining equipment. And Yunbi's tourist ship was white and pretty and definitely not military. "I'm fine," she said. "I think I'm just confused." But she was not the only one who was confused. All across the galaxy, the news of the Battle of Kepler 442 was spreading. Military analysts were studying the recordings. Historians were comparing it to famous battles of the past. And everyone was asking the same question: how did 2 hours after the battle ended, the 4 human ships were floating near Colony Kepler 442b, and everyone was having lunch. Dae-ho sat in his small dining area eating a sandwich and filling out paperwork. The sandwich was not very good, just basic ship food, but the paperwork was worse. Every time they helped someone, there were forms to fill out. Incident report. Assistance to Colony Kepler 442b, he wrote at the top of the form. Time 11:30 to 13:45. Nature of incident: pirates. Action taken. Standard problem solving. Result: problem solved. He paused and looked at what he had written. It seemed accurate but boring. Maybe he should add more details. Equipment used: mining charges, industrial adhesive, communication hacking, holographic entertainment system, mining machinery. That was better. Now anyone reading the report would understand what happened. His radio buzzed. "Captain Kim, this is Colony Control. The hostages are all safe and healthy. The pirates have been turned over to the local authorities. We cannot thank you enough." "You're welcome," Deho said. "We were happy to help. Is there anything else you need?" "Actually, yes. We're supposed to ask about payment for your services." Deho almost laughed. "Payment? We don't want payment. We were coming here anyway to deliver supplies. Are you sure? What you did was amazing. The other ship captains are saying the same thing." "We're sure. Just neighbors helping neighbors." After he turned off the radio, Deho went back to his paperwork. In the section marked Special Notes, he wrote, "Routine assistance operation. No payment requested. Minor delays to delivery schedule." He signed the form and put it in his filing cabinet. In a few weeks, he would send it to Earth along with all his other reports. Some clerk in an office would read it, stamp it, and file it away with thousands of other boring reports about cargo deliveries and minor incidents. Meanwhile, on the Seoul Express, Captain Jiwoo was talking to her insurance company. "Yes, I used the industrial adhesive," she said into her communication device. "No, it was not damaged in the process. Yes, I delivered it as planned, just to a different location than originally intended." "But Captain Nam," said the insurance representative, "our records show you used the adhesive as a weapon in a space battle." "It wasn't a weapon. It was just glue. And it wasn't a space battle. It was just a problem that needed solving. Our monitoring systems detected massive energy readings and coordinated tactical maneuvers." Jiwoo looked out her window at the other 3 ships. They looked like exactly what they were: old cargo ships taking a lunch break. "I think your monitoring systems need to be fixed," she said. "We're just merchant ships doing merchant ship things." "Captain, with respect, merchant ships do not engage in holographic warfare and chemical weapon deployment." "What holographic warfare?" Yoonbi was just running her tourist entertainment system. "And what chemical weapons?" "I sprayed some glue around. It's not like I dropped a bomb on anyone." There was a long pause. "Captain Nam, we may need to adjust your insurance category from peaceful merchant to military contractor." "Don't you dare. My rates are high enough already." On the mining ship Busan Heavy, Captain Kyung-soo was having his own conversation with his company headquarters. "Yes, sir, I used the mining equipment," he said. "No, sir, I did not damage it." "Yes, sir, I delivered the mining charges to the colony as planned." "Kyung-soo," said his supervisor, "I'm getting reports that you used our mining ship in some kind of space battle. Is this true?" "I helped some people who needed help. I used the tools I had available. The reports say you intimidated 3 pirate ships with advanced weaponry." Kyung-soo looked at his mining arms and drilling equipment. "Advanced weaponry? These are mining tools. They dig holes and move rocks. But you use them in combat." "I moved them around and looked scary. The pirates were already confused and scared. I just helped them make the right decision. The insurance company is calling it innovative military engineering." The insurance company needs to get out more. This is just a mining ship with mining equipment. If that's military engineering, then every construction worker in the galaxy is a soldier. On the passenger ship Jeju Paradise, Captain Yoonbi was dealing with her own problems. "Ma'am, my passengers want to know why we stopped for a space battle," said her assistant manager. "We didn't stop for a space battle. We stopped to help some people, but they saw the holograms and the explosions and the other ships. They're calling it the most exciting thing that's ever happened on one of our tours." Yoonbi sighed. "It wasn't supposed to be exciting. It was just supposed to be helpful. They want to know if we can schedule more space battles on future tours. We cannot schedule space battles. They happen when they happen, and we hope they don't happen at all." "But ma'am, our customer satisfaction ratings are the highest they've ever been. People are saying this was better than seeing the pretty nebula." Yoonbi looked at her entertainment control panel. The holographic projectors were turned off now, but a few hours ago they had created what looked like an entire fleet of warships. She had just been trying to confuse the pirates, not create the greatest tourist attraction in the galaxy. "Just tell them we'll see what we can do," she said. While the human captains were dealing with paperwork and phone calls, the news of their victory was spreading across the galaxy, faster than light-speed communication. On the planet Zenther Prime, military analysts were studying recordings of the battle. General Zexvor, the most respected military strategist in the Zenthari Empire, watched the recordings for the 5th time. "Incredible," he said to his staff. "Look at this tactical coordination. 4 different ship types, each with specialized roles working together perfectly." "The timing is flawless," agreed his chief analyst. "The holographic deception begins at exactly the right moment. The chemical weapons are deployed with precision. The cyber warfare creates maximum confusion. And the psychological warfare," added another officer, "using the mining equipment as intimidation while simultaneously offering mercy." "Brilliant. General," asked a young officer, "how do we defend against tactics like this?" General Zexvor thought for a long moment. "I don't know," he said finally. "Everything they did was improvised, using equipment not designed for warfare. How do you prepare for an enemy who can turn tourist entertainment into military deception? How do you counter weapons that aren't weapons?" "Perhaps we should study human military philosophy," suggested the chief analyst. "Yes. Send a request to the Galactic Council. We need to understand how humans think about warfare." Similar conversations were happening on planets across the galaxy. The Vegan Strategic Institute declared the battle a paradigm shift in space combat theory. The Military Academy of Proxima Centauri added a new course called Improvised Tactical Solutions to their curriculum. The Galactic Defense Force issued a bulletin warning all their ships to be prepared for unconventional human military tactics and non-standard weapon deployment. Back on the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Hijin was reading all these reports and feeling more confused than ever. "I still don't understand," she said to Counselor Veltar. "They're just cargo ship captains. They help people because that's what humans do. Why is everyone treating this like it was the greatest military victory in history?" "Because it was," Veltar replied. 4 ships against 3, but the 4 ships were not military vessels. They had no training for combat, no weapons designed for warfare, no tactical support from command. Yet they achieved complete victory with 0 casualties in less than 2 hours. But they've done things like this before. Humans help each other all the time. Ambassador, we have records of human helping incidents going back 5 years, since you joined the council. Every single one shows the same pattern. Impossible tactical coordination, innovative use of available resources, and complete success. Veltar showed her a computer screen with a list of incidents. 3 months ago, human cargo ships rescued passengers from a cruise liner that lost power near a black hole. They used mining cables and cargo nets to create a temporary bridge between ships. Our analysts called it advanced zero-gravity engineering under extreme conditions. That was just Captain Lee and his crew being clever, Hyojin said. 2 months ago, human construction workers helped evacuate a space station that was hit by an asteroid. They used welding equipment and building materials to seal the hull breach and create emergency shelters. Our analysts called it rapid battlefield engineering. They were just doing their jobs. Last month, human merchant ships encountered a lost colony ship that had been drifting for weeks with no power. They shared their supplies, fixed the ship's engines, and guided it to safety. Our analysts called it complex multi-ship logistics operation with advanced technical support. Hijin looked at the list. Every incident sounded dramatic when described in military terms, but she remembered hearing about them at the time. They had just been routine news. Humans helping other humans, nothing special. "Counselor Veltar," she said slowly, "I think there might be a misunderstanding here." "What kind of misunderstanding?" "You're looking at these incidents like they're military operations, but humans don't think of them that way. We just think of them as Tuesday. Tuesday? Any day ending in Y, problems happen and we solve them. People need help and we help them. It's not military strategy. It's just what people do." Veltar looked at her with all 4 of his 6 months after the Battle of Kepler 442. Captain Daeho Kim was sitting in the most uncomfortable chair he had ever experienced. It was in the center of the Galactic Council's main assembly hall, and it was designed for aliens who had very different ideas about what made a good chair. Around him sat representatives from dozens of different species, all staring at him with various numbers of eyes. Some had taken notes. Others had brought recording devices. A few were drawing pictures of him, though he could not imagine why. "Captain Kim," said Counselor Veltar, Thank you for agreeing to address the council about human military tactics. I'm not really military, Deho said for the 10th time that day. I just deliver cargo. Of course, Veltar replied in a tone that suggested he did not believe this at all. Now, could you please explain to us the theoretical foundation of what our analysts have termed the Tuesday Doctrine? Deho looked around the room at all the expectant faces. He had no idea what the Tuesday Doctrine was supposed to be. He just knew that everyone wanted him to talk about it. Well, he said slowly, Tuesday is the day after Monday. The aliens all leaned forward as if this was incredibly important information. And, prompted Veltar, and, it's the day before Wednesday. More note-taking. More recording. One alien was drawing what looked like a diagram of the days of the week. Captain Kim, said a tall alien with green skin and too many arms, our analysis suggests that humans use a 7-day tactical cycle. Is this correct? We use a 7-day week because we always have. Monday we go back to work after the weekend. Tuesday through Thursday we do our jobs. Friday we start thinking about the weekend. Saturday and Sunday we rest. Fascinating, said the green alien. So Tuesday through Thursday are your primary operational period. I guess. We work most days. And this weekend concept, is this when you plan your next operations? Deho thought about his typical weekend. He usually did laundry, watched some TV, and called his mother. Not really. We just relax. Strategic recovery and planning time. This was not going well. Deho tried a different approach. Look, he said, I think there's been some confusion. What happened at Kepler 442 wasn't a military operation. We just helped some people who needed help. Using unprecedented tactical coordination, Veltar pointed out. We talked to each other on the radio, advanced battlefield communication, and improvised weapons, added the green alien. We used the tools we had available, innovative resource utilization under combat conditions. Deho was getting frustrated. We sprayed some glue around. Chemical warfare deployment. We turned on some lights. Holographic deception protocols. We made some noise. Explosive ordnance for psychological impact. Deho put his head in his hands. You're not listening to me. On the contrary, Captain, we are listening very carefully. Please continue with your explanation of human tactical philosophy. At that moment, Deho's communication device buzzed. He looked at it and saw a message from his ship. Captain, we have a distress signal from the mining station at Wolf 359. Engine failure. 47 people aboard. Limited life support. Deho stood up. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Someone needs help. Wait, said Veltar. We have not finished debriefing you about the Tuesday Doctrine. I don't know anything about a Tuesday Doctrine. I just know that people are in trouble and they need help. Captain, surely this can wait. We have prepared extensive questions about your tactical innovations. Deho looked at the alien counselors, then at his communication device, then back at the counselors. 47 people, he said. Limited life support. Would you wait if those were your people? Well, no, but then you understand. Deho walked toward the exit. Behind him, the alien counselors were talking excitedly among themselves. Did you see that? One was saying. He immediately shifted into operational mode when presented with a tactical scenario. The transition was instantaneous. No hesitation, no debate, just immediate action. This confirms our analysis of human military psychology. They are always ready for combat. Deho paused at the door and turned back. We're not always ready for combat, he said. We're just ready to help. An hour later, Deho was back on the morning comm with his crew. Boram had the engines warmed up. Taemin had plotted a course for Wolf 359. So-Young was monitoring the emergency frequencies. What's the situation? Deho asked as he settled into his captain's chair. Mining station Gamma 7, So-Young reported. Their main engine exploded this morning. They have backup power, but it won't last more than 18 hours. They need evacuation or emergency repair. How many people? 47, 32 workers and 15 family members. Other ships in the area? I'm checking. So-Young typed on her keyboard. Looks like 3 merchant vessels. The Incheon Trader, the Daegu Express, and the Ulsan Heavy. Deho knew all 3 ships. Captain Minho Seo ran the Incheon Trader. Captain Young Suk Park had the Daegu Express. And Captain Dong Wook Choi commanded the mining support ship Ulsan Heavy. Get me on the radio with all of them, Deho said. A few minutes later, the familiar faces of his fellow captains appeared on his communication screen. So, said Minho, mining station in trouble again. Why is it always mining stations? Because mining is dangerous work, replied Young Suk. Remember that station near Vega last year? Same thing, engine explosion. At least this time we're closer, said Dong Wook. My ship has spare engine parts. If we can get them installed, we might not need a full evacuation. That would be better, agreed Daeho. Evacuating 47 people is a big job, especially if some of them are kids, Young Suk added. Kids don't like being moved to strange ships. They spent the next 20 minutes working out a plan. Dong Wook would try to repair the station's engine. Minho and Young Suk would stand by for evacuation if the repairs failed. Daeho would coordinate communications and provide backup supplies. It was not a complicated plan. It was not a brilliant plan. It was just a practical plan made by people who had done this sort of thing before. Meanwhile, back on the Galactic Council station, the monitoring computers had detected the movement of 4 human ships toward Wolf 359. The same technicians, who had watched the Battle of Kepler 442, were now watching their screens with excitement. It's happening again, one of them called out. 4 human ships converging on a single point. Alert the Council immediately. Are they using the same tactical formation as before? Similar, but adapted for different conditions. This appears to be a rescue operation rather than a combat engagement. Ambassador Haya Jin was called away from her lunch to look at the screens. She saw the 4 ships moving toward Wolf 359 and immediately understood what was happening. There's a mining station in trouble, she explained to Counselor Veltar. They're going to help. Another military operation? Another Tuesday. But Ambassador, look at this coordination. 4 ships, perfect timing, specialized roles for each vessel. Heejin looked at the screens. It did look very organized, but she knew it was just her people doing what they always did when someone needed help. Counselor, may I ask you something? Of course. What does your species do when people are in trouble? Veltar looked confused. We follow procedures. We contact the appropriate authorities. We file reports and wait for official response. How long does that take? Usually several days, sometimes weeks if the situation is complex. And if people are dying while you're following procedures? Well, that is unfortunate, but procedures exist for good reasons. We cannot simply... Veltar stopped talking and stared at her. Ah, he said quietly. Yes, Hyejin said. We cannot simply let people die while we follow procedures. So we don't. On the screens, they watched as the 4 human ships reached Wolf 359 and immediately began working. The mining support ship docked with the station. The other 3 ships took positions around the area, ready to help if needed. Is this how humans always respond to emergencies? Veltar asked. Yes. Immediately? Without waiting for authorization? Yes. Using whatever resources they have available? Yes. Working together without formal command structure? Yes. Veltar was quiet for a long moment. Ambassador, I believe I am beginning to understand why the galaxy finds humans so frightening. Because we help people? Because you help people without hesitation, without bureaucracy, without concern for official procedures or personal cost. From our perspective, this looks like a military force that can mobilize instantly and operate with perfect efficiency. But we're just people helping people. Yes, I understand now. Veltar looked at the screens where the human ships were working to save the mining station. Do you know what we call a force that can deploy anywhere, anytime, using any available resources with no advance notice and no central command? I'm afraid to ask. Invincible. 3 hours later, the crisis at Wolf 359 was over. Dongwook had successfully repaired the station's engine with help from the station's engineers. No evacuation had been necessary. All 47 people were safe. The 4 human ships were already heading back to their original destinations, with only a small delay in their schedules. On Daeho's ship, Boram was making dinner and complaining about the price of spare parts. Taemin was reading a bookamer.